All right. Oof. All right. We are live. What's going on, guys? Jake Thompson in the building. FaZe, Alex Beach, Eddie Clutch, Sav Jag, Brogan J, River Ross, Brennan B says, UCF live stream. Let's get it. Did you know it? Ryan Lemon. There is your shout out, bro. What's up, Chase? What's going on, everybody? So here we are, man. 2 live streams, 2 days. I told you this was a lit time of year. And yeah, man, the Jaguars, this is pretty much the first day of the Jaguar season, if you know what I mean. Jaguars finished out 1-15. We finished the mission. We had the #1 overall pick. Now we focus on, moving forward. Obviously, Doug Marrone, that hammer dropped today. So, boom, man. GM spot open. Head coach job open. Obviously, we're going to get a franchise quarterback in here, man. Lots of awesome stuff happening. So thanks everyone for being here. What's up, Washington State Jags fan? C Breacher. What's going on, fellas? So today I'm doing something a little different. I am doing a commentary on the Shad Khan press conference today. Shad Khan doesn't talk to the media very much. He only usually does it once a year, and that's when the state of the franchise thing goes on. He doesn't really touch on football. He just talks about mostly business. But hey, man, when we had the owner Shad Khan speaking out, talking about football, we had to take a break and kind of review that. So yeah, with all that said, man, I tried to do it where I could have the actual video down there, but I couldn't get it figured out for whatever reason. So we're just going to go ahead and roll with it. Hopefully all you guys can hear this, but we're going to listen to Shad Khan's press conference, 24 minutes of that today. We're going to listen to it. I'm going to do a commentary over it. And yeah, Eddie says, I only watched 5 minutes. Oh, and fell back asleep. Get to watch it with y'all. Yeah, man, this is going to be, I'm going to go through it with you guys. I remember watching it today. I was thinking about doing a video on this and kind of pulling up different tweets of what he said. I was like, you know what? Why don't I make this a long version? I'll just literally listen to the whole press conference with you guys, and we'll just kind of go with it like that. So, can you guys hear it okay?
And good morning, everyone.
Let me know if you guys can hear it.
I think before we begin, I want to acknowledge and really thank everyone who's helped Jaguars navigate the COVID virus and kept our team healthy. Our
Thank you,
medical
Shad.
group, athletic trainers, as well as the players and the coaches, all did an exceptional job.
So just whatever, shout out, fast forward through that, whatever.
I also want to salute our front office and City of Jacksonville for producing a safe and enjoyable experience for all the home games throughout the season. We were one of the very few teams in the.
I'm not going to comment too much on this.
It's a great credit to the City of Jacksonville,
whatever,
and the Jaguars staff, and thank you very much for all you did. And finally, and most importantly, I do want to commend and applaud everyone who loves the Jaguars. And
that's us, guys. We love the Jaguars.
The turnout was fantastic, and no matter what, our fans stuck with us.
Gaming says, "Why does he say a lot?"
Thank you.
It's like Doug Marrone says, "You know a lot."
I think, as you know, we are making a change with our head coach. I spoke to Doug at length this morning.
Boom! Hammer goes down.
And I'm grateful for what Doug did, serving the city with grace, and
that's how he did it. Doug did it with grace.
He cared a lot about the Jaguars and the people here in Jacksonville, and it really, I think it was difficult, but really the right thing to do. I wish Doug, Helen, and his family well, and I'm sure he's going to enjoy success in his next stop. So now we'll continue our search for our new general manager.
All right.
And it'll also be time for us to find a head coach.
Give it to us. Have a head coach. There we go. GM head coach. It's your time, Shad.
Joining me.
Your time, bro.
Now to take your question.
All right, thank you, Shad. Just a reminder to everyone, if you have a question, should drop it in the chat or use the raise hand function available via Zoom. We're going to start with
And I gotta say, I usually don't watch press conferences. I honestly hate press conferences, especially during the season. But when you hear stuff from the owner or the GM, they don't talk very often. So this is a cool
Mark
opportunity.
Long from the Associated Press.
Happy New Year, Shad. Thanks for doing this. Appreciate it. You've done this a few times, unfortunately, and haven't had a lot of success. How critical is it right now to make the right two hires, especially when you've been adamant that you want fans are overdue to be rewarded?
Well, I think, Mark, I mean, this is, yes, this is our second search for the
Yes.
general manager in the 9 years I've been there. And Doug was with us for 4 years as a head coach. So I think, we worked with them. We've been patient, given them all, obviously, the resources. And, certainly I'm committed to do a wide search and make sure we have the right people, to help us win.
And do you look at this like a lot of people around the league, that this is the best job or the best two jobs going right now?
Well, Mark, I certainly think there's a huge amount of interest, in this, much more so than the last time around.
Yeah, so the first time he went after GM, it was in 2013, his second year as owner. The first year he rolled with Gene Smith and he rolled with he rolled with Gene Smith and Mike Mularkey. Fired them after that year. Then 2013 he conducted the next search. The Jaguars in 2013 had the second overall pick. But in that draft, it wasn't like the second overall pick this year. I mean, Eric Fisher was first on the board, then Luke Jokel. There were no great quarterbacks that came out in that draft. So at that point, it wasn't that attractive. The quarterbacks on the roster had been Blaine Gabbert and Chad Henne. No quarterbacks in 2013. It was like the EJ Manuel, Geno Smith draft. Then the following year, the draft wasn't even that good either. It was like obviously Blake Bortles, Johnny Manziel, Teddy Bridgewater were the first round quarterbacks. So not that great, but obviously you said this year there's a lot of interest. I don't doubt it with all the cap room, also with the guarantee of getting Trevor Lawrence in here. I mean, obviously we can talk ad nauseum about all that, but shout out to David for the $5 Australian dollar donation. He says franchise defining quarterback. Con is going to bring a winner to the 904. Hell yeah, man. Thanks for the donation, man. It's all on this guy. It's all on Shad Khan, man. The money, the cards are on his table. Hopefully he learns and hopefully he does this right. So let's continue on.
And I also look at really, we're in a much different and I would say a better position today than we were a year ago. Little over a year ago, as you well know, and I think you reported, we did have team disharmony and, we were, to use the word, salary cap hell. I think today, I frankly thought we would do better in the season. We won 3 games. I mean, we won 6 games last year, and certainly we have a lot of salary cap availability along with the draft picks and obviously the number 1 pick. But what's evaded the history of the
So before he gets into the next point, that was kind of a shot at Tom Coughlin, wasn't it? He was like, we were not in a good place last year. We were in salary cap hell. Everything was kind of going south. That was kind of an indirect shot at Tom Coughlin. But he does know, I mean, I will say, like, I thought it was so stupid for him to not have fired, like, Doug Marrone and Dave Caldwell last year. But I mean, looking at it now, this is so much better of a job this year than last year. You will not get the same candidates this year as you would have last year. So it's a good thing you didn't fire him last year. I mean, now you look at it and it's really a perfect time. I mean, you get the number 1 overall pick to bring in here. So I guess I can kind of commend him for that.
The Jags really has been a franchise quarterback. And I think what's unique certainly is that we have the ability now to make a choice and it's going to define the franchise moving forward.
So he pretty much says right there, we're drafting a quarterback number 1 overall. He says we're finally in position to get a franchise quarterback. Obviously, he spent the resources, man. Like, he's gone through the ringer of the whole Blake Bortles drafting, the doubling down on Blake Bortles, getting all that money for Nick Foles. Dude, he wasted a lot of money on the quarterback position, but I think he feels good right now about the fact that we're going to be able to draft Trevor Lawrence #1 overall.
Thank you, Mark. All right, let's go over to Brent Martineau with Action News. Brent, you just need to take yourself off mute.
Got it. Sorry. Happy New Year, Shad, and everybody else. Thanks for taking the time. You've done this a couple of different ways, obviously, from trying to go with Tom Coughlin as the Vice President of Football Operations, your patience. You've had a new head coach with Gus Bradley, a guy that's done it before, and Doug Marrone. I guess over these cycles, what have you learned that you might take with you in terms of what you might be looking for in a head coach and GM candidate going forward?
Well, I think, obviously you want the harmony and you want, the mission, the goal that we're here to win. So I think for me, somebody, a proven leader who understands not only the basics of football, the blocking and tackling,
So
but
proving
more
winner.
importantly, the modern football. Some of the things, the new footballs, but more importantly, handling the 21st century athlete at the same time. So the
So
old and the new.
that seems like another shot at Tom Coughlin, right? Knowing the 21st century athlete. I mean, he brought the winner in with Tom Coughlin, but the big downside was they did not understand the 2021 player.
I think are absolutely vital, and then being able to attract really the right staff. I think that is a key element, that you're only as good as the people you surround yourself to. So who they can attract and really the approach is going to be very, very important for us.
So that was kind of a generic answer, a head
Okay,
coach.
thank
I
you,
want a guy
Brent.
that
Let's
wins.
go over to Hayes with
Basically
1010
what he
Excel.
said.
Hey, Shad. Is the plan to hire a head coach before a general manager? And if so, why do you like that model?
Well,
So this is an
I mean,
important
I'll tell
question.
you, I think ideally you want to hire them about the same time. What I learned, and I think it's really true, it doesn't get quite the visibility, but the current environment is, the head coaches, the kind of coaches you want, they want to be able to work very closely with the general manager on the personnel side. A key thing how, we would be structuring this is that I'm going to have the general manager and the head coach report directly to me.
So that's a little different in the
that way-
past. When what's his face, Gus Bradley was brought here, it was Gus Bradley reporting to Dave Caldwell, Dave Caldwell reporting to Shad Khan, but he wants it more as a GM head coach partnership. And then this is kind of him showing that he wants to be more involved with the football side of things. I think that's important. Of course, a big knock on Shad Khan is that he's more of an absentee owner, but I think he's learned that look, like, I can't just be super hands off. I have to kind of be close to the situation with the Jaguars, and I can't just kind of leave them the keys. I got to be around. So I think that's a good thing to kind of hear, that he's going to kind of stay in tune with everything going on.
Coach report directly to me, and that way really, you have the transparency and the needs and the concerns of both parties without really getting filtered or having a chain of command. So and that's really what necessitates that you basically hire them about the same time.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess he's talking about how he's almost talking from past experience. He goes, look, if we have a chain of commands, things get filtered through what other people want to do. And I imagine that was big time the case with Tom Coughlin, because obviously if what's his face, Doug Marrone reports to Dave Caldwell, Dave Caldwell reports to Tom Coughlin reports directly to Shad Khan, then, like, I can't imagine all the filtering that's going on with the head coach. So I like that approach. I like that there's not too many chefs in the kitchen. And imagine it sounds like he wants to hire them about the same time. So I don't know if he's going to work hand in hand with kind of I guess the head coach or whoever he hires first to kind of bring in the next guy.
And really, you have a perfect alignment, which you need in a winning organization.
Thank you. Good luck.
So
Thanks, Abe.
communication
Let's
is
go over
key,
to John
that's for
Reed with the
sure.
Florida Times Union.
How you doing, Mr. Khan? Appreciate your transparency. Can you give us a time frame of a timetable of when do you plan to hire? And also, second to that question is, do you feel you're further along since you already interviewed candidates for the general manager job? Just kind of what is the fit that you're looking for at that position?
Well, first of all, on timing, I think, this is something we're not doing, obviously that often. So I think, we're going to take our time to make sure we've looked far and wide and really a whole variety of candidates. So I really can't give you the timing unless when it's right, obviously, we'll be sharing it with you. Now, on the general manager search, I mean, we've interviewed people who were available.
Yeah, so honestly, this is a stupid question. Like, oh, when are you gonna hire the GM? I'm gonna announce the GM when I announce the GM. I mean, he's obviously gonna do interviews. I mean, you're gonna get one question, and you're gonna ask that. Like, come on, man.
But there are a number of them who are unavailable due to the league rules. And, today we'll be turning in our request to be able to interview someone.
Like one thing that drives me nuts about press conferences is that, like, especially during a season, there's so much just owner and coach talk and player talk. Like, I could have literally told you what Shad Khan, how he would have answered. He's not going to be like, oh, I plan to announce on Thursday the new GM, the new head coach. It's like, dude, he's going to go through his work. He's going to interview this guy, then make a decision when he knows. It's like, I don't know, just drives me nuts. It's like, dude, come on, ask a better question.
So really this process is going to be running in parallel. And certainly, we'll keep you appraised whenever we have something worthwhile.
And just a quick follow-up. Who's all involved in helping you make these two decisions? Is it just you alone, or you have a search team?
See, that's a decent question. That's a good question.
I've gone through the rite of passage, okay, as a new owner coming into the league, the advisors, consultants, whatever. So, we did that. This time around, I think I have a much better sense myself. So, I'm the key decision maker, but we do have people at the team, at the Jaguars. I mean, Mark Lamping would be one who will be working with these people. So, they will be involved from that viewpoint. But, when it comes to who the key decision makers are going to be, I mean, you're looking at it.
Yeah, so he kind of just says that, look, it's pretty much me. I'm getting some advice, but Mark Lamping's going to help out. And it's interesting because a lot of people go after Shad Khan's son, Tony Khan, on Twitter because they think he's like super involved with the Jaguars. But I mean, he's done it all. I don't think he's that involved at all because, first of all, his main thing is AEW, the whole rest. I don't know a lot about it, but his whole wrestling organization, he's like one of the leads up in that. His second responsibility is like Fulham Soccer. I mean, he does some work. He does a pretty decent amount of work over there. Then it's like, how much time does he really have to dedicate to the Jaguars? Like, not much. So I feel bad. Everyone goes after Tony Khan on Twitter. But I don't think he has much to say at all. I think people go after Tony Khan just because Mark Lamping and Shad Khan don't have Twitter. So it's like, all right, let's go after this guy.
Thank you, John. We're going to go over to Mike Duraco with ESPN.
Oh, Shad, thanks for doing this. Do you have any specific qualifications you want in a new head coach? Does he have to have previous head coaching experience? Are you willing to take a shot with somebody at the collegiate level? And can you maybe address the Urban Meyer rumors too?
Yes.
Well, I think
someone finally addresses the elephant in the room, and that's Urban Meyer. Let's see what he says.
You know, all of that.
Also, thank you. We got 130 people in here, man. Thanks for being here. Definitely like the stream if you guys can. On the road to 10,000 subscribers, baby. Let's go.
If you look at, you know, some of the successful head coaches in the NFL, you know, 4 years ago, you probably had not heard of them. Okay. So I think there's a lot of talent out there. And frankly, you know, we want to look at all that. It's, so I mean, you know, if they're assistants, proven head coaches, all of that, you know, we'd be looking at. And you know, the rumor.
So that was just generic question. We'll hire anybody if they're good, if they're qualified, whether they're code, whatever. I mean, it's another fluff question. But here comes the Urban Meyer part.
For Urban Meyer, obviously, you know, I've known Urban over the years through Big Ten and what have you, and but you know, we've not spoken to anyone about this job or obviously interviewed him. I mean, this is something. It's just, you know, made the decision this morning, so you know, there's, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, so he's not gonna go too much into the Urban Meyer stuff. I mean, I don't think he's had any formal interview with Urban Meyer or anything. I mean, I think they've been kind of in talks, but I mean, he put that up and kind of shut it down pretty quick. But I don't know. A lot of people out there are pretty much saying that there's a good chance that happens. All right, hopefully my battery in my camera doesn't go out.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. All right, let's go over to Mia O'Brien with First Coast News.
Hey, Shad, Happy New Year. Kind of just building off of that, just to confirm, have you, I mean, obviously 15 straight losses, like you said, you haven't formally interviewed anyone, but were there conversations at all leading into this weekend with anyone other than Doug about this position as the head coach of the Jaguars?
I think no. I mean, you know, it's, you know, I sat with Doug for 2 hours after the Bears game to really, you know, one of the things or concerns I've had, I mean, we've had 6 starting quarterbacks over the last 3 years. And it's very clear that obviously, you know, that's been something sorely missing, how we would develop them and, you know, what is the criteria on that. So, and, you know, we haven't had a job till this morning in opening. So it's, you know, it would be pointless to talk about interviewing, let alone, you know, seriously considering something.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man.
With that said,
You know, you've been trying to get a head coach for a while. You don't have to. Yeah. For real, why is everyone always mentioning Sarah Fuller in my streams? I don't understand it. I'm with you, CC boy. Like, why are we mentioning her all the time?
So does that mean that when you had that conversation with Doug after the Bears game, at that point, were you looking to Doug as your head coach for next year?
No.
All right, guys, give me 1 second. I have to change my battery in my camera. Hold on. Give me 1 second. One second, guys. Going back to the old. All right, let's change this over. It's probably gonna look like crap, but we'll roll with it. Oh, look at us. Back to the old days, right, guys? Oh man, remember broke ass UCF? Look at me. All right, let's do this over like that. All right, we'll roll with it like this. Sorry about that, guys. All right, we're coming back on. All right.
No, I I mean, I was looking to really what is the right thing for the Jaguars, moving forward. So.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Mia. All right, let's go over to Culpepper with WJXT.
Morning, Shad. In the past, you've talked about your philosophy of hiring being about hiring people you like and who are good at their job. Because of those criteria, are you also adding in, are you looking for somebody who can define an environment or sort of a team culture more than perhaps in the past? And how important is that aspect of these two hires?
Well, I think team culture, is about winning. And if you look at it, it's ancient history, but 3 years ago, I mean, we were in the championship game. So that is really a key lesson. It's about culture, which is about sustaining winning. It's a little bit different than managing losing. So, and so that is obviously an aspect of that. You want to be able to get to win, but then you want to be able to sustain.
All right, that was a stupid question.
We're going to go over to John Shipley with the Maven.
All right, let's hear
Shad,
John.
thanks for doing this. Just you mentioned how the team's in a better place now compared to last year, just in terms of the situation. Do you have any regrets about bringing Doug and Dave back for 2020?
Not at all. No, I don't. And I'll tell you why, because, when I sat down with them after Tom's departure, both of them, expressed a desire that they want to be able to, demonstrate what they can do working together. And also,
Dude, all the
as
shots
I
at Tom,
mentioned
man.
earlier, I mean, we had
I didn't realize this
serious
is the first time I
issues,
listened.
with the team. So who better to help clean it up, who were part of that, really creating the mess? That would include me. So it was the three of us really need to join hands, and you want to win, but you want to set the foundation. That was, how do we help the players who don't want to be there, exit with the right value for the Jaguars, and then who are the players, maybe veterans? How do we identify them? Who'd be better off going someplace else, and it would be salary cap and draft picks we could invest in new players. And that was done earlier, last year or, this season. And then some of the capital, obviously, we have for the future. So, I mean, they played a role, but, we're not where we would be, where we could, sustain or extend them.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Let's go over to Gene Fournette with the Florida Times-Union.
Hey, Shad, you had mentioned earlier that you would like to kind of hire the GM and the head coach about at the same time. Are you willing to let the chips fall where they may on that timeline, or do you specifically have an idea in mind that you would like to hire one or the other first?
Dude, didn't someone literally ask this question earlier?
Well, I think, Gene, you have to have a sense, both of them have to know who's going to be the other person. Okay. And so to me, that is really a critical point. And I think I can, also share with you that last season, I mean, especially after Tom's departure, he had the roster control. So, I kept the roster control, and the candidates, the general manager candidates, I've been talking to them that for the immediate future, I'm going to keep the roster control. And I want the coach to know that also. And it's not to really who's coming in.
This was an interesting statement. He says that he has roster control. He did say later on that basically he means that like he's not going to just give out a blank checkbook and basically say like, okay, do whatever you want. He says like, look, like now these these GM moves had to kind of go through me. And I don't think it's not like draft picks. It's not like, oh, can I draft this guy in the 4th round? What about this 6th rounder? It's more like, okay, how much money are we spending on Nick Foles? How much money do you want to give him? How much money are we trying to pay for middle linebacker Joe Schobert? You know what? I'm not going to do this. It's more something like that. It's like, like I think in the past, like we were signing Julius Thomas and Jeremy Parnell to all this money. I think you got to the point where it's like, look, like, I'm going to approve and disapprove of these different moves, and we're going to kind of roll with it like that.
To really have a rhythm that everybody's aligned on who might be leaving the team and who might be coming in, at least for the immediate future. So those are some of the nuances that I want to make sure that everybody's on board with, because I think it's really, really important here, and we don't head off in a wrong direction, with an imbalance in power, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, so
So I
that
hope
dude,
that
like, I
kinda
didn't
explains,
even recognize how much he's just like poo-pooing the Tom Coughlin thing. He's basically saying like, dude, this was not a good move from me. I should not be doing that. All right, I need to. There's some. Let's see. Yo, CC boy, I'm gonna put you as a moderator. If you want to boot some of these trolls, I'm not able to kind of pay much attention to it, but I don't know. Whatever. If you guys want to deal with these guys, you can.
some of the logic
So let me go
board
back.
with, some of the nuances that I want to make sure that everybody's on board with, because I think it's really, really important here, and we don't head off in a wrong direction, with an imbalance in power, for lack of a better word. So I
Yes.
hope that kind of explains some of the.
So he wants. I mean, he learned from his past mistakes. You got to give him credit for that. Like, he says no. Like, we can't have this 3-headed thing where we have a real like hierarchy of power. We're gonna have split responsibilities between GM, head coach. They're gonna report to me, and it's gonna be a good, fluid communication system.
Logic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Let's go over to Sam Kavaris.
Hey, Shad, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Shad, based on the comments that you have made during the season, are you committed to hiring a man of color for this job?
I want to get the best person for the job. Okay. And I think diversity is, very important to me for many, many different reasons. And I think, we're going to look far and wide, but I think what's most important is this inflection point for the franchise. We have the best leaders, and I say general manager as well as the head coach.
So for neither of those jobs, that is the priority. It'll be a consideration, but not a priority.
I think
It's a weird question to ask by Sam Kavaris. Like, oh, so it's not a priority for you to hire a man of color? Dude, just get the right guy in. I mean, I think the Rooney Rule is a good thing. Having an interview, definitely interviewing people of color. But I mean, it's like, dude, do we want to get the best guy in here? Or is it like, okay, my priority for this team right now, I'm going to get a man of color in here. That's my priority. It's like, I don't know. It's a weird question, in my opinion.
It's a consideration to really get the best person, and then how do we move the needle on diversity? It's, there are many, many different ways of doing that. It could be assistance, could be other things that we can do to really,
And yeah, I agree with you, Michael. He says, I hate that question. I mean, I actually think that Rick Smith would be a good GM. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I really like Rick Smith as a GM. I don't really like Louis Riddick as a GM. Get the best guy. I mean, I do not care about what their color is. But I mean, I guess me as a as a white person, maybe I just view it a little bit differently. But I mean, I think I can speak for some people that, like, if you're a man of color, I think you would also prefer, bring in like the best guy for the job, not be like, all right, look at us, we got, a black man in here to be our GM. We're sold. We're good. I mean, it's just weird.
Diversity is a major significant issue, I think, for the NFL. But you know, you hire not the best person just because of color. You're not helping the franchise or the diversity. And I mean, I've gone through this diversity issue in the auto parts
Yeah, Kevin, I
space
agree. Sam is a
for 40
legend in
some years.
Jacksonville.
And you
Weird
don't want to
question.
set up a person, you know, of color to fail. You don't want to set them up to fail. You want to set them up to succeed. So that whole really nuance, I think, is very, very important to me. And I think, you know, it has to play in, but doesn't mean that absolutely it has to be a person of color who's got to be the top person.
Thanks, Shad. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Sam. Let's go over to Demetrius Harvey.
Hey, Shad, I appreciate you doing this. Over the years, it seemed as though, or at least from an outsider's perspective, you took sort of a hands-off approach to controlling the Jaguars. The GM and the head coach were more of the power. Will you be taking more of a hands-on approach moving forward? And could you just clarify as far as what you mean by roster control? Do you mean you have the final say?
So this is a good question.
Well, yes, not the final. Well, yeah, the roster control is you don't want players going in and out or contracts given till you're aware of that. So, you know, striking the balance between, you know, delegation and abdication, I think is an important point. And certainly I found that in the last, whatever, 15 months, having that, you know, necessitates the conversation. You're part of the conversation with the GM and the head coach. So being part of that here, you know, for the immediate future, I think is important to me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Demetrius. Okay, we've only got time for two more, so we're going to make sure to get to Jordan DeLugo and then Jamal St. Cyr, who've had their hands up.
All right.
Hey, Shad, thanks for
Jordan
doing
DeLugo, I had him on a channel a few weeks ago. Jordan DeLugo from GenJag.com.
this. Are you going to be looking for more of a win now mindset than you did going back to the first time that you did the GM and head coaching hires at the same time? Or is it going to be a longer rebuild like it was last time with Dave?
Well, if you look at it, I think you want to have both. So 4 years ago, when we did the search, the mindset really was with the head coaches I interviewed was, well, you know, we need a rebuild. We need extra time. We need this, we need that. Okay. And at least my mindset with whatever, 3 games, my mindset was we have talent here. What would you do, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, the most success we've had came right after that. Okay. So I think, you know, we have a great group of young players. Obviously, we're going to have an elite franchise quarterback. So,
Yeah,
you know,
elite
you
franchise.
can't have a mindset,
He's hinting
well,
at that
this is a
Trevor Lawrence
rebuild.
thing, man. He's not talking about Justin Fields. He's talking about Trevor Lawrence when he says elite franchise quarterback.
And it's going to take time, et cetera. I mean, we have to have a mindset. We're building for the long haul, but you have to be able to win at the same time.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jordan. All right, let's wrap it up with
Yeah,
Jamal.
so he wants to. It sounds like he wants to win right away. He wants to win right away. He wants to have sustainable success, and he wants his franchise quarterback.
St. Cyr.
Hi, Shad. 2 questions really quick here. Have there been any decisions made about the rest of the coaching staff, if anyone would be retained? And how high on your list of things when you're looking at coaching candidates is having someone who has a history of working with young quarterbacks?
I think, you know, obviously developing a young quarterback, we've been very unsuccessful at that, okay? Last 8 years, you know, and we haven't had a quarterback or franchise quarterback. So I think that is very, very important. The assistant coaches, I mean, the ones that are under contract, we're going to keep them. We have some good coaches here, and I want the head coach, whoever that might be, to be able to look at that and retain some of them.
Yeah,
that
so he's not going to fire anybody right now. He's going to allow the new coach to come in here and interview different guys. He might retain a few guys. Joe DeCamillis might be a guy that they retain, the special teams coordinator. And he also might retain like Keenan McCardell, the wide receivers coach. But I mean, I imagine the OC is gone. I imagine the defense coordinator is gone. I don't imagine many people definitely staying.
would be the head coach's obviously decision.
All right, cool. So
All
that's
right,
that's
thanks,
pretty much it, man. That was I thought it was a pretty good press conference, man. I think he shows that look, he does care. Like I like how he's going to be more involved because I think he was hearing all the absentee owner stuff and he sees that look, this team has gone completely horribly wrong. I've owned this team since 2012 and every season except for one has been a double-digit losing season. This is a fresh start for him. New owner, obviously. Like he hasn't owned any like sports teams before this, so I mean he's taking a new approach to this. I think he's being diligent with everything, and I think honestly I liked this press conference out of him. It definitely makes me show that I think he at least does care a little bit. So yeah, Big says we have not had a franchise quarterback in years. Shots fired, dude. Absolutely. What's up, Joey 79K? Blake says I want Lawrence and Dable. He can make Trevor great like Josh Allen. Yeah, absolutely. JackFin85 says 120K more subs to be at 10,000. Let's go. Sarah says great move by the Jags coming from a Colts fan. Well, we appreciate that, Sarah. Dean Green says he owned a soccer team before he bought the Jags. I thought he bought Fulham after the Jags. I thought that was it, but yeah, like Sean said, Sean is really showing open optimism and actually trying to improve this team a lot. I know. I like this. It was good. It was honestly really good hearing from Shad Khan. We never really hear from him, really talk about football much. It was good hearing his perspective. But Shad Khan, man, the team's on him right now, man. We've got to a lot of work needs to be done. And it's pretty much like all on him at this point. But yeah, I appreciate everyone for watching, man. We have 181 people in here. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Definitely drop a like if you can. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at UCF_Jaguar. I'll be back probably tomorrow with another video. I'll keep trying to pump them out while I can. So yeah, thanks guys.